Hey creatives, welcome back to our channel, Writing to Riches. I'm alone today and my name is JD Quinn. So it's fall and I couldn't be happier. This is actually my favorite season. I love layers, I love sweaters, I love cozying up to a good book under a blanket, and what I really love, and I'm gonna get splashed at this online, but I don't care, I'm basic. I love pumpkin spice. I love anything pumpkin seeds, pumpkin spice latte at Tim Hortons. I'm obsessed. But I just love the season of fall. I love it. It's like a rainy day every day, except it's not raining, and like the colors of the leaves, it's gorgeous, especially where I'm from. So anyway, speaking of cuddling under a warm, cozy blanket and reading a book, today I'm going to talk about my fall reading list. So I'm not as fast a reader as DS Walls, and so that means that my list contains less books for fall, because we have a goal to try and get this done for the winter. And I absolutely love these books. I'm so excited to share them with you and so excited to share why I can't wait to read them and the idea of them. So let's start with numero uno, Running with Scissors. This book is by Augustin Burroughs, and it's actually a true story, so it's a memoir of his life. There's also a show on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. If it's not Netflix, he definitely has a show out or a movie out about this. His childhood was unorthodox at best, and at worst, it was something we would all probably consider not healthy. But the way that he presents it is just so funny and anecdotal, at least so the back says, and I'm so excited to dive into it. Also, a childhood friend who says that it was kind of like her childhood a little bit, or at least it reminded her of some certain stories in it, recommended this book to me, so I'm very excited to read this. I've known her since we were both 9 years old, and we grew up in not the nicest neighborhood, but not the worst neighborhood either. And we have some anecdotal tales that are kind of funny as well. So maybe we'll write a memoir one day together. Who knows? But yeah, very excited to read this. Also, it's fall colors on the title, just in case you forgot or didn't notice. Numero dos. So this is called What Remains by James Fuller. He's actually a Twitter friend. He was one of the first people to really talk to me on Twitter and Twitter writers, and I really like the idea of supporting each other, especially as sort of writers who aren't super famous yet, or writers who kind of need a way to get ourselves out there. And I can't wait to not only read this book, but also review it, so that you can kind of have some insight into James Fuller as a reader. And also, he has some new fans from this. I'm also really excited because it's a post-apocalyptic world, and that's not something I've ever read before, except I haven't even read Hunger Games or any of those things. I know kill me. But it wasn't something that I really got into, not gonna lie. Sort of watched the movies. Me and DS will maybe do a movie versus book for that. But I am really excited to get into this and see how somebody writes a post-apocalyptic world, because I'm not sure that it's something that I would take on. It seems kind of scary to have to make up a whole universe, and I think that that's really interesting and smart and just brave of a writer in general to create a whole world, whether it's fantasy or post-apocalyptic, to have to think of all new societal ideas. It's very interesting to see what they come up with, I hope. And speaking of fantasy and Twitter friends, this is my next book. So this is my third book. It's called The Realm Surfer. I'm just realizing now that all of these books are coming to you as backwards, so not really sure how to fix this, but this is definitely called The Realm Surfer. So sorry about that. This is Sabrina Oyenloy, and she is also, Sabrina, I'm so sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm so apologetic. Please tweet me and tell me the actual pronunciation of your name, and I will definitely make sure that when I do your review, I pronounce it properly. So one of the things that actually attracted me to this title is it is a black woman on the front, and you don't see black women in fantasy a lot. DS Walls told me that, and it's kind of interesting because you don't see black women in a lot of main characters as books. I'm hoping that's something that changes. It's definitely something we're trying to change with our book. The character that DS Walls writes for is in fact a black woman as a main lead character, and I couldn't be prouder of that, because we need to start seeing diversity in our writing, and we need to start seeing diversity in our TV shows, movies, everything, representing the world and how it's actually seen, how we actually see it outside in the streets. So I was actually really interested in for that. And also, I'm not going to lie, aside from Stephen King, which I'm not even sure you could consider that, but I don't really read fantasy either. Up until recently, I've kind of had a very specific type of genre that I like. It's mystery or horror or true crime, but I'm really trying to get into different genres and trying to study them, as now that I'm really taking my writing career seriously, I can't wait to delve into these and maybe use these as research for my own book ideas that I have in my head but I was too afraid to do, like a post-apocalyptic world or a fantasy world, because the idea of creating a world was so scary to me. But I'm really interested to take that as a challenge, and I can't wait to get into these books. And like I said, I also just can't wait to support these authors that are just trying to get themselves out there and that aren't, necessarily super known yet, but deserve a chance to get out there, because that's how we discover new authors, right? And then my last book is a book I'm most excited for, not going to lie. It's Mexican Gothic. It's by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Not only is it written by someone with Latinx descent, but it also has a Mexican woman, so I'm told, as the lead character. And what makes this book even more interesting is that a lead character of a mystery, which again is my genre, so I'm very, very excited. But I'm also just interested to see how this portrays. And I'm also very excited to just have, like I said, diversity in reading. And then lastly, this is a little personal anecdote about myself. So when I was 16, I should have gotten my license, but I did not. I didn't have anyone in my family that had a car, so I just used the excuses like, oh, there's nothing to practice on, or I'm too afraid to drive, blah, 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 blah. And now, going into my 30th year, I'm finally going to read the driver's guide. I am so excited. One of my birthday gifts that my mom is giving me is she's paying for me to get my license, and you guys can judge me all you want, but me and DS are constantly talking about how there is no timeline, and to do things on your own timeline and when you feel comfortable. And I haven't felt comfortable until now taking this test, and I haven't felt comfortable until now really doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have the motivation before, and when I did have the motivation, I freaked myself out and I scared myself out of it because I'm genuinely afraid to fail, which is one of the things that we've also talked about. So I'm just really excited because I feel like my 29th year, my 30th year, big things are happening for me, and they didn't happen when I was 18 and they didn't happen when I was 23, but they're happening now. And I couldn't be more proud of myself for the accomplishments that I'm getting to. Be proud of yourselves for what you're accomplishing, because it is never too late to get something done. You could be 45, 60 and getting your license, as long as you can see and hear. And it still means something, because it's your timeline, and I'll keep saying it and I'll always say it, and I'm so proud of myself, and I think that you guys should be proud of yourselves too with whatever you're accomplishing. That being said, please feel free to comment below your reading list for fall, what book you're going to use as a compliment to your blanket, and then just please feel free to tell me what your books have been about. What's a good comfy book that I should read into, and something that'll keep me enthralled, and something that'll keep me up all night. So also comment something that you're proud of yourself for doing this year, because I love hearing those kinds of things. And even though it's been COVID and it's been crazy and everybody's lives have kind of been thrown into an upheaval, I'm sure that there's something that all of you have done that have made you proud of yourselves, and I can't wait to hear about that. Subscribe and like to Writing to Riches, because we love you and we can't wait to keep doing this. And prepare yourselves, because every single one of these books is getting a review. So if you are a Twitter friend, hopefully you still like me after. But that being said, guys, it's been great, and thanks for hanging out in the fall with me, because I love this season. And we'll catch you on the flip side of the page.